If you're not already using patient personas to influence your marketing decisions, you're doing it wrong. Let's dive in. Hi, it's Jason Parkinson from ONEFIRE. Let's think for a second about your perfect patient for your practice. Go ahead, close your eyes and just dream with me for a minute. What does that person look like? Are they male or female? What about their age? Are they married? Do they have a dog? Look, the patients you're trying to reach with your marketing message are human. They're not just a demographic or a Facebook audience. We're talking about real life, living, breathing people here. And in healthcare, it's important that your messaging as a practice connects with patients on a human level. And one of the best ways that you can start to foster the right tone in your marketing is by building a patient persona. Wait, Jason, what are you talking about? Look, if you've been in marketing for any amount of time, you may have heard of a buyer persona or a user persona, but what is it and how does it work? Well, I'm glad that you asked. A patient persona is a fictional representation of your ideal patient, and it's really based on research about your best patients. You know, the ones that choose the most expensive procedures at your practice, they pay their bill on time, and they're telling their friends how great everything is with their experience. When you build a solid patient persona for each of your service lines, you can start to evaluate all of your marketing efforts and actions through the lens of how does this message resonate with my patient? Now, there are lots of ways to build personas, but let me walk you through a few key things to consider here. So, if we take a dive here into my iPad and start looking at this patient persona worksheet that we use here at ONEFIRE, one of the things that you want to start with is really understanding what service line is it that you're trying to promote. So if we take an example of an ophthalmology practice, I'll just decide that this is a patient persona for LASIK. In fact, we may name this persona so that it's easier to remember. I'm going to call this LASIK Laura. Now, LASIK Laura, you can put a picture here so that you can really identify who this person is. But for the sake of the example today, I'm just going to put LASIK Laura there as the name. So if we start looking at demographics, one of the important things about a persona is kind of understanding the typical age range and those stereotypical marketing demographic details. It's important to put those in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the age. Laura is 34. She's female. She makes $45,000 a year. She is in Chicago. She has her bachelor's degree, and she is a school teacher. The other thing that it's important to do is to decide on a background story for Laura. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time today putting together a background story, but what you want to be thinking about is who is Laura as a person? Is she married? Does she have a dog? Does she have kids? What does she like to do in her free time? Understanding the background story is really going to humanize who Laura is when you're talking about building marketing messaging that speaks directly to her. Moving down to wants and needs, let's take a stab at this. What are some wants and needs that Laura may have as it relates to choosing a LASIK provider? Well, she probably wants to ditch her glasses and contacts. She probably needs more ease in her life. Easier life. How about she wants to see her kids better? Now, all of these are good examples, but one thing that works really well is picking a few of your best patients that you've got and interviewing them, asking them, what are your wants and needs when you were choosing a specific provider? What were the pain points? What were the frustrations that you had? Let's dig into frustrations. Some of the frustrations Laura has are foggy glasses with mask. She can't see by the pool in the summertime. And she does not like, a big frustration of her, she doesn't like to talk to providers on the phone. Watering holes. When we're talking about watering holes, we're talking about where does Laura get her information? What's her decision-making process? She uses social media. She talks to coworkers. She uses Google, etc. And then communication preferences. What are the best channels to actually speak to Laura in? How does she like to communicate? Well, text message. She uses Facebook Messenger and email. So now we've got a decent persona built out for Laura at this point, where you can start to understand what's motivating her in her decision-making process, what's the best way to reach her, and you can start to speak to Laura as if she's a human and not just some demographic or Facebook audience segment. Taking a deep dive into who your ideal patient is can help you craft exactly the right message that addresses their wants, their needs, and their frustrations as it relates to choosing the services and procedures that you offer. When you're ready to start growing the number of new patients you serve in your practice, we should talk. You can just hit the link below, schedule a free 45-minute strategy call with my team, and we can talk about where your practice is today, where you'd like to be in the next 3, 6, 9 months, and really what's preventing you from getting there. Good luck building your personas. I'll talk to you next week.